So, what we wanted to spend a good portion of the time, as well as giving you guys like nuts and bolts technical stuff of things you can do with your camera, things you can do during sessions, is we wanted to give you the opportunity as business owners to kind of switch gears a little bit and think about the business side. I know Mary Sam and I had talked about this. So, how many of you guys, just show of hands, are full time? You do this. This is what you do for a living. Okay, so about 60%. And some of you guys are aspiring to that, moving towards that. Alicia, yeah. I know you have a lot of business background, so this is maybe some of the, like Trevor said, some of these things where you may already do in your business. Some of these things you may have tried and been like, yeah, that totally didn't work for us. But I appreciate you guys being here. I really thoroughly appreciate that you're taking, it's a step in the vulnerability direction to say, hey, I don't know everything. I am never in a point in my life when I feel like, there's nothing really else I need to know. Because right about that point, I'm like, yeah, I feel pretty good. I'm a freaking idiot. Whether it's my relationship with my wife, or whether it's my business or my kids, it's like I feel like you're getting to that point where you're like, dude, we're doing so good. Like, we're good parents. And then you're like, Mr. de Blasio, your son is peeing outside. And I'm like, oh. Well, there was that.
You're like, yeah, talk about that.
I know, isn't that cool?
I'm so good.
Yeah, he's an outdoor man. Hello. So I really appreciate you guys are here and that you're taking that step to say, you know, hey, I need to learn, I need to be better for my clients, because at the end of the day, that's really the people that benefit the most are the people that you guys are trying to serve.
I'm hungry, okay?
Who wrapped that thing?
It says de Blasio written all over it.
Keith,
Hey,
don't you have a knife? You're from Arkansas. Come on. There you go.
Okay.
Anybody want to get their bags?
Continue.
Go ahead. Yeah. Go,
I
just
did
dump
not
them.
wrap those. He only put the bows on
Yeah,
the
I
bottom.
tied the bows on the front. I didn't put anything in it. So I just wanted to say thank you guys for being here. And like Trevor said, I hope you guys know this is like a safe environment. If you have a question you feel totally stupid for asking it, please ask it, because I guarantee you there's at least one other person that has something similar to that they want to know too. So just, I don't know what you want to say, nut up, man up. say what you're thinking and ask, because we may not know, but we'll definitely try to help you guys figure it out. So I gotta go back and turn this back on. We wanted to start off this portion. I wanted to start off talking about your business, and we did a little bit of my background. I know you guys know me as like a person. You've probably seen me on Facebook and stuff like that. But as far as where I have come with my business stuff is, before I did this full time, I did sales for a long time. Most recently did sales for a company for 1.5 years, selling cleaning systems. So you guys have all probably either heard of or know someone who has tried to do some kind of selling, like they sell knives, or they try to sell vacuums, or they try to sell, you know, purses or watches, or there's like a billion small opportunities like that. We were at a place where I had a college degree, and I was just like, this opportunity came up for us to basically earn back the one that we lied. I just said that on video. We bought. And so I was like, hey, I can do this. I'll try it out. And within the first 3 months of trying it out, I made like an extra $5,000 working maybe 3 or 4 hours a week. And I was like, well, let me try this a little more. So the distributor that I worked with was really, I just really feel blessed, because he taught me so much about working with people and not selling people on things, but rather helping equip them with the things that they want. And for 1.5 years, I sold $2,500 vacuum cleaners, and did really well with it. Not because I was a good salesman, but because I was learning some of the things we're going to talk about how this company very simply and succinctly defined who they were, what they did, what they offered people, and how what they did was different from what other people did. So we're going to start off with the bottom of just knowing your roots. So this whole display is kind of built through a tree, and I want you guys to think about these kind of things in your business as we're going through this. Is to start off, to know where you're from, you have to know what defines you. And some of those things are, you have to know who you're selling to. So I think a lot of us said wedding photography is one of the main aspects of photography that we do. That's a really wide range. I mean, you guys, I'm sure, look through a wedding magazine and you see people that it looks like they spent $100 or $150, $200,000 on their wedding. I know people that I've shot for that spend $600 or $800 on their wedding. It's a wide range to say a wedding photographer. So for your business, you guys need to start off by saying, who do I want to sell to? Who are the clients that I want to reach? Some of those questions you can ask is very simply painting a picture of them, a visual picture. You know, what kind of things do they value? Do they like time with their family? Is it important to them that they spend time with their family enough that they're going to spend several $1,000s going on a vacation each year so that they have that time, that they protect that? Is it important to them to have nice clothes? You know, are they people who look for brand things? Are they people who spend time keeping up with fashion? Where do they shop? What do they like? You know, do they like things that are handmade? Do they like things that are custom made? Do they like things that are made in the U.S.? Like, are those things that are important? You know, just start picking that apart. And I know people that have Jenna Clark. Some of you guys know her from Show It Tears. And she has like they make between 120 and 160,000. They wear like she has a whole descriptive portrait. With us, it's been a little easier to just kind of say, like, we value people in our clients that kind of value what we value, because then it starts the process further down the road. Have you guys ever had those conversations with people on Facebook or people in your life that's like, no, I charge this much because of this, and they're like, you go through the whole thing and you're trying to convince them of why it's worth what you charge? Anybody have those conversations? Mm-hmm. Anybody have those comments on their page where they're like, oh, that's expensive. Mm-hmm. Not about photography even, just stuff, you know, like something that you valued. I know the workshop. That was one of the first things. Fran was like, oh man, this is a good deal. This is, and then other people I know specifically, that was what held them back. They're like, it's way too expensive. There's no way. Okay, so when you guys know who you're selling to, if that's going to keep doing that, it's going to drive me nuts. When you know who you're selling to and they already value the things that you value, you start further down the road in the selling process. It's not now convincing them, it's just an equipping of them. So starting off of knowing who you're selling to, whether that's seniors, whether that's babies, having an idea of the kind of things they like. This is from Seth Godin. He said, if you say you're trying to reach everyone, I'll know you're likely to reach no one. How specifically you can identify the physiographics, worldview, and needs of the people, how specifically can you that you are seeking to change? Why did these are questions you can ask your marketing team, which I don't know if you guys know who your marketing team is. It's you. Yeah. It's you. Your manager, that's probably you. Your trash taker outer, that's probably you. Diaper changer, we share that responsibility. If it's really gross, it's me. Why do they decide to support us? Your marketing team, you need to know why the people who support you decide to support you. If you don't know, how can you find out? Ask them. Yeah, it's really simple. People, I think people have this idea that I don't know if they identify it as vulnerability, but as business owners, sometimes we're afraid to tell our clients we don't know something, or we're afraid to ask them why they did something. Like, I have this pricing list. Why did you guys pick the middle pricing package? You know, how do companies find out that 86% of people who shop at Target buy more products how do they find that out? Well, I'm sure everybody's clicked through something and it pops up and said, would you like to take a survey? Yeah. I ask all my clients all the time, would you guys like to take a survey? Could you help me make my business better? I know that you guys had a good experience with me, but I'm sure, because I'm a person, that there was something about the way that we interacted that I either could have done better that you didn't like. Now, is that going to keep them from coming back to me? Probably not. But I can improve that for the future by asking them. If you say why do they decide to support us? In order to earn the donation, make the sale, generate the buzz, we need to change people somehow. We need to change them, or when we change them, what happens? What story do they tell themselves? You guys are going to hear me say this a lot during this part about the business is stories. We sell stories, every one of us. Whether it's the story of how your wedding day went, or the story of the love that you share with your children, whether it's the story of that time in your life when your kid is graduating from high school, whether it's just a very simple story of we went on vacation and we want to remember it. We sell stories. So what kind of stories are we selling, and how are the people that we are selling them to, how do they value those? Why do they decide that we are the ones that they want to do that for? What do you need in order to make this happen more often? What are some things that would encourage you to go back to the Lowe's?
What would encourage me?
Yeah, what are some things there that would encourage you to go back? What, more than once?
Any invite to come this way?
Yeah. Any reason she can find, right? Shannon,
any possible reason.
Yeah, any reason, because why?
I like the view of the room, configuration of the room, the bath stuff in the room. Yeah,
The
bartenders
ti-
were really cool.
The tile.
The yellow tile.
Do you think that the people who built that or that hotel thought about every single one of those aspects?
Absolutely.
Or do you think they went, well, people need a bed, just put it in there?
No.
No. They probably paid lots of money for somebody to say, what's the best place in this room to put a bed?
Yeah, for sure. The configurations
Yeah.
of the room are well thought out.
What's when people come to your office, when they sit down with you at Starbucks, when they come to your home, what's the best way that they could sit in that room? Stacy and I talked about this so much about this workshop. Where's the best place in this loft that we could sit and have a class? What's going to make people most comfortable? Should we get chairs or should they sit on couches? Should it smell good? Does that matter? Most
Yes.
guys are like, smell what? Does it? Yeah.
But the
it
women will remember
absolutely
it.
matters.
We walked in, we were like, coffee.
Yeah. It smells like coffee and breakfast. When you walk in the morning and it smells like coffee and breakfast, everybody goes, oh, this is gonna be good. You know? If you come in and there's like a paper cup and some water, you're like, I mean, it may not be something that you cognitively go, oh, this is gonna be cheap. But there's something about all those little things in your client experience, in the way that you interact to the people that you sell, that as the manager, as the salesperson, as the person in charge of that experience, whether you spend a lot of time on it or a little bit of time, whether it's something I love, so I tend to spend maybe more time than necessary on it, but it's all part of how the people that you are selling yourself and your business to interact with your business, and they say, is it worth it? Is what I'm paying worth it? Let's go on to the next one. So starting off by defining, we're going to just recap. Yeah, well, I can see it. Know what you're selling. So I'm going to zoom in on that a little bit. So defining who you're selling to and then knowing what you're offering them are like the foundations of your business. You guys can feel free to admit this with me. How many people have done business or started off in their business just like, whoever wants to buy whatever I have? If you pay me, I'll do it, right? Shoot your kids? I'd love to shoot your kids. I love kids. Dude, your dogs are coming? Cool. Please, you're God, make them sit still. For I think a lot of us, especially when it's your main source of income, if they're going to pay you and it's a decent, well, somewhat decent, you're going to do it, right? You're probably going to do it. What was it I was just talking to about this? Oh, Shannon. Shannon and I were just talking about. Shannon works part full-time at a restaurant.
But you were going to say fish restaurant,
Yeah,
weren't you?
I was going to say fish restaurant. But you're from Boston. It's just a restaurant there. She works because she wanted to pay for her gear in her business and not have to take out loans and stuff. But one of the things that my wife and I talked about when I first decided to go full-time was a very short conversation of, hey, I'm quitting my job. One of the things that I really wholeheartedly decided is that any time, any effort that I spent outside of what I really wanted to do was time that I wasn't spending on what I really wanted to do. So you have the same 24 hours that every single person in this room has, and when you spend even 3 or 4 of those hours, if you do an evening job, if you spend 3 or 4 of those hours doing something other than that, it's time that you don't spend doing that. And so, again, the distributor that I worked for he was just fantastically good at teaching me little lessons like that. And he said, everybody works at their jobs. When you know the rules within which you operate, it makes that job a lot less frustrating. So when you're spending 10 hours, 15, 20, 30 hours at another job, and then you have to go work this job to try to build it up, it's difficult. It's really hard. So when you guys know what you're selling, and you know who you're selling to, you can focus your efforts on doing those things and not doing all the other stuff. If you know you want to do weddings, don't never shoot seniors again, but don't press seniors. Don't tell everybody that you do seniors. Don't put it all over your Facebook, because then people see that. Keith, you're having this right now, aren't you?
Yeah.
He's been doing a lot of seniors. You know why? Because it's senior season. So, but the people who are looking to book weddings are going past his Facebook going, I shoot seniors. They're not going, Keith does weddings. Do you guys ever go to Apple store to pick up a new TV? Probably not, right? And would you ever go there to like find clothes? Maybe if you're like an Uber geek, but like you're not going to be. Why? They don't sell that stuff. That's not what they do. You don't go to Target looking for building supplies. And it seems so obvious. And some of these things I was writing them down. Like people get this. Like you're gonna feel like an idiot telling them this. I don't think about this in my business enough, even though I recognize it in everybody else's business. Everybody else who does business, you would never go to Canon and be, hey, I got a Nikon, can you help me fix this lens? No, we don't do that. So if you guys can start even cognitively writing down in your mind some of the things that you do, what do you do? It will help not only you define who you're selling to and what you're selling, it will help your customers know what to buy. If you put out there all the time that your style is relaxed, romantic, you're probably not going to get inquiries and have to feel frustrated all the time from brides who are looking for high-end modern fashion. It's just not going to happen. People don't look at Fran's work and go, oh yeah, I'll bet she could do my $200,000 wedding with like my 40 bridesmaids, you know, in this posh luxury hotel, because that's not what she shoots. It's not that she couldn't shoot that, it's just they're not looking there because that's not what she does. So define your style. This is something the BNI has helped me with, is be able to describe your style. Can you guys tell me, could anybody, I mean, and you don't have to, I don't want to put you on the spot, but can anybody tell me what style they shoot, like succinctly? I know Jen Bishop can. She's got her mouth full of food. Sorry. Anybody? Trevor, what do you shoot? What's your style? Yeah.
My style is people who love showing off themselves on social media with clean, fun, bold, vivacious, obviously, colors.
You like the adjectives. Megan, our wordsmith.
I
style?
shoot for joyful, timeless storytelling.
Joyful, timeless storytelling. You know how easy it is for someone to go, I love that stuff. I'm going to talk to her. Christine, what do you shoot? What's your style?
Funky, edgy, artsy fashion.
Funky, edgy, artsy fashion.
I want to throw my people in like graffiti balls.
Yeah.
They're going to be down with it.
Yeah. Now, how did you come up with those words?
You know, I'm in the process of rebranding right now because that was my problem. I had a day job, big job, then work, and I just was working work. I took any job.
Yeah.
Because I wanted
Anybody
to go
will pay
into
you.
full time. Yeah.
Yeah.
And now that because I just went into full time about 6 months ago, I've been delving into who my customer is, rebranding and relogoing.
Funky, edgy, artsy, cool.
Fashion.
Fashion.
I love fashion.
Funky, edgy, artsy. I don't know, that's an A. I was like, it almost spells fart.
That would be awesome. That would be totally
You could
I
do
shoot
it
farts.
trendy instead of fashion.
Dude, if you can figure that out and make that work,
No, that would spell it.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
I will love you forever, even if it's just something we know.
I think
It's
we
like,
should
she
just
shoots
because
farts.
I totally shoot farts. I'm so good at it.
I know this is
I
my
get
class
down
now
in it.
because somehow we work the word fart in. Yeah.
Hashtag fart.
Hashtag. Fran, yours is really succinct too. You shoot.
Yeah, Christina said use the word powerful last night to describe my work, and I really like that. So yeah, like adventure, powerful.
What's your little
timeless,
thing? Spunky.
wedding
or funky?
photography for the funky, adventurous soul.
Yeah. So I don't feel like you have to come up with like 3 words. I know that's like a big deal with some people that do marketing stuff. Don't feel like you have to, but it's really helpful because if you can describe what you do in a sentence, it's really easy to tell people about what you do. If what you do goes into some long PowerPoint presentation of like, well, these are some of my images, and what we do is you lose people. But if they can grab a hold of it and then they can then tell other people about it really succinctly. Keith shoots weddings and he makes seniors look like rock stars. He makes them look like ESPN catalog models.
Yeah, you know,
That's totally true.
It is. It totally is.
one thing I would add to that too, guys, is sometimes you might not have the words to define it, but stick to a style.
Yeah.
Like, don't keep changing yourself, trying to follow what the next trend is. And the reason I say that is one time I was doing a small little bridal show type thing. It was just at a venue. They had some of their preferred vendors come in. And I had a little thing set up with some pictures and a slideshow. And this girl came over and she said, oh, did you shoot so-and-so's wedding? I can't remember the Monica and Gordy. Actually, they were married right over here at Marriott in San Diego. Did you shoot Monica and Gordy's wedding? And I said, yeah, I did. Are you friends with them? She goes, yeah. And I said, oh, did you see their photos? She goes, no, but I can tell your photos look exactly like the same style as theirs. And that was the first time that I was like, whoa, I have a style. I was like so stoked, but it was like the biggest compliment I ever got.
Yeah. Well, that's, I don't know that I would have been able to put it into 3 words until recently just because I've been thinking about it a lot. And some people do inherently do it, but I found that most people don't inherently do it. I do that with music. I know and understand how music theory works, but I don't play it by sheet music. I just play it because I know it. I hear it, and some people do that with their brand. Some people do that with their style. They shoot a style, and that's what they really like, so they stick to it very easily. Most people don't. Most people kind of, and I think it hedges up against that fact that we just shoot whatever for whoever likes it. Please like me, please pay me. Seems to come across whether we want it to or not. When you have a style though, and when you're persistent with that, it also helps you know what to say no to. It helps your clients not only find you, but it helps you know what to say no to and know what to give to your clients, what they're expecting. Defining your expectations, we're going to talk a lot about that in other areas, but defining your expectations helps you as a business owner, but more so it helps your clients know where they are, what they get, how to ask for things. Being able to replicate your style, I'm going to keep moving on or I'll spend all day. Being able to replicate your style within different environments and with different people. If your style is very soft and pretty and earthy, and then your off-camera flash stuff looks edgy and tough, they kind of go opposite of each other. And so if you can help learn from workshops, if you can ask people that do stuff like what you like, they blend that style really well, they shoot off-camera fast, it still looks pretty and soft and nice. Or if you're a funky, edgy person and then your off-camera flash looks like pop-up flash. You really need to be able to replicate your style and the way that you define yourself in different environments, in natural light. If you always shoot in natural light and then you're in a situation where you don't, you need to know, as a professional, you need to know how to replicate your style to a degree. I mean, it's always going to be different, but to a degree within different environments to have that universal look. So what poetry are you trying to write? I tend to think about what I do. I try to, anyways, remind myself that I'm making art. So the neat thing about art is that it has rules, but it doesn't really have rules. If you can keep it within parameters, it helps, but what you guys get to do is you guys get to write stories. And they're most usually short stories and short pieces of people's lives and really important parts. But how are you trying to write? Are you a free-form kind of person? Are you a standard, like a processed version of this is how I shoot and I go through it every time? Are you show up and we'll see what happens kind of thing? Again, defining that style will help you not have anxiety. I was talking to Keith and Trevor on the way over about when I first started and I would do families, I was trying to bring like cool props all the time. I was trying to bring like cool stuff for them to play with, or like little chalkboards to write on. And I was like, I'd spend all this time on Pinterest trying to figure crap out. And then I was like, I would go to the shoot like tense and anxious because I was like, I hope this is cool. I hope they like this. I hope this is like a fun idea that people on Pinterest and Facebook are going to be like, oh, that's cool. And I would have this like internal anxiety that would limit my ability to be creative with them because I was so worried about making it something that somebody else would pin or something stupid like that. I realized that the way I work best is to have an idea and then to show up and let that idea take shape. And knowing that and being able to tell my clients that gives them a reason to just show up and go, hey, it's going to be awesome. I tell my seniors, like, we're going to drive down the road and we're going to see a group of trash cans with pretty flowers. I'm going to say, hey, let's stop there. I have kind of an idea where I'm headed, but I don't have like, we're going to shoot in front of this door with this light on this. That's not my style. People do that. I know lots of people, that teach that style. We don't do that. So being able for me to define that allows myself to not have anxiety about it, but it also allows my clients to know what to expect. So the next point says, don't underestimate your value, which I already know because the majority of you are females and artists that you're going to struggle with that. But just being an artist, just being a creative, I know you guys are going to struggle with that. And you're going to say things like I've said to myself a million times, why would anybody pay for that? Or why would anybody pay that much for that? Keith said something to me, we were talking a while back, and he said, I wouldn't pay that much for it. Well, does that determine your value? Is that what determines what you're worth? I feel like you need to determine your value and say this is what it's worth.
We struggle with it too as guys.
No, I said creatives and women. I'm not saying guys don't struggle with it. Creatives in general struggle with undervaluing what they do because we see it as something that anybody could do. You know what I mean? They don't see it as something special. It is special. And the way that you know that is because other people can't do it. that want to do it and that value it. So in the same way that someone who operates a metalsmith machine does something valuable because I can't do it, or someone who works on cars, I will pay them to work on my car because I may not have the time or the energy or the intelligence to spend on that. What we do is valuable, and the reason that you know it's valuable is because people have been paying for it for a long, long time. So to step back from that and say, well, I don't know if it's valuable, stop trying to figure out if it's valuable and let other people tell you that it is. All you have to determine is what you need to live. You know what I mean? If you can make it, and like Kester's doing, $329 for senior shoots, and it works for you, then do it, and don't apologize for it, and don't feel like you're devaluing what other people do, because they get to determine what they do. But if what you do is you need $1,400, $1,500 seniors, you need $2,500, $3,500 weddings, then do it, present it like that, and just know it. Like, just know that you're worth it. Because if you weren't, your market will tell you that, and it will consistently tell you that over and over again. So don't underestimate what you're worth, and part of all of that, figuring out what you're worth, is going to be in the business aspects of the side of it, knowing what you're selling, knowing who you're selling to. Offer your product to possible buyers and not just to anyone. This is just kind of touching back on what I've learned from BNI is BNI, for those of you who don't know, is called, it's BNI, Business Networking International. It's a networking group that's like AmSpirit or some of the others that the intentional business owners get together once a week. They have a whole structure to it, but one of the things that you do every week is you get to give a 60-second commercial for your business. And what they have trained you to do in BNI is to look at everybody else around you as your sales force. I have tried to shift what I look at my clients as people who are paying me to people who are selling me. Because I don't have time to sell to all the people that they know. But if I can convince them and equip them and teach them how to sell for me, I now have a sales force that's unlimited. And they will contact people I never would have thought to contact. I just got 2 jobs 2 months ago that were like, in 40 minutes of each session, made over $500 on something that took me literally 40 minutes. Because these people do things with their businesses, and they needed a little session to be published in a magazine. And two of my networking group clients did it in the same month. And I was like, I would have never thought to do that, because I'm not a commercial photographer. I would have thought they probably would have hired someone else to do it, or I didn't even know that it existed. So, oh, that's driving me nuts. I'm gonna figure that out. Okay, I'll start back.
I was gonna say, I think in the settings, I think you can tell your iPad to stay awake
Stay awake
longer, but you can worry about the next.
Yeah, I'll do it over the break. I'll just keep waking it up. So, but in doing that, in knowing what you're selling, who you're selling to, if you just say, I'm a photographer for anyone who wants, no. I'm a photographer for someone who, no. I'm a photographer for senior parents who want a specific unique experience. I am a photographer for wedding clients who are in love with love, who, when they think about planning with their wedding, photography is one of those things that's like, we have to have a good photographer, or not just takes good pictures, but we have to have a photographer who makes us comfortable. You know, like that's who I'm looking for. So when I'm talking to other people, when I'm talking to my friends, I say, they're like, they know I do wedding photography. In the beginning, they would just tell me anybody that's getting married. Now they're, because of the branding and because of sticking with it, like Trevor said, of picking a direction and just kind of continuing to go that way. As that goes on, they learn, and they then can equip, I can then continue to equip them to sell for me. So don't just offer yourself and your services to possible buyers that maybe want what you do. Be specific in who you want to sell to.
Can I throw something out there?
Go ahead.
Talking about our values.
Uh-huh.
When I had a day job, I really stuck to what I thought I was worth.
Mhm.
Because if I booked a wedding, great. If I didn't book a wedding,
No big deal, right?
no big deal. Now I have to support my family based on it. And so I struggle really hard with knowing what I feel like I'm worth.
Yeah.
But I'm not there yet.
Dude, it is the
Charge
hardest,
those people.
the hardest thing for me to watch a wedding client walk out the door
Yeah.
that I could have made $1,000 on, but I charged $2,500
Exactly.
or $3,500 or
I've
$4,500.
had to do
You
that
know what I mean?
twice.
It is the hardest thing in the world to watch that. But this is what I always have to tell myself over and over and over again, is that saying yes to something means saying no to something. If you say yes to a $1,000 wedding client, you automatically say no to anyone who would pay you more. Anyone. That day is never going to be open again. If it's not on a Saturday, then do it. You know what I mean? Kester and I were talking a while back, and he said, "What do you do?" I was like, "Well, I mean, I press myself as a wedding photographer and a senior photographer, but I do some editing. I shoot headshots. I take family pictures once a month. I do design for people who need. I fill my time because I'm supporting my family, and so I'm not going to say no to stuff, but I'm also not going to take a $100 design job when I know I need to make $300 or $400 on it for my time."
Right now,
Yeah.
holiday family sessions,
Yeah.
not advertising.
Right, and that's kind of what the family stuff came with us, is like, we didn't want to not do them because I love families. I love their stories. I love being able to do pictures for them, but I can't spend a bunch of time on them. So we do them once a month, and we offer 6 of them, or 4 of them, or whatever. So it's just like that. Not saying we don't do families anymore, but saying this is what it works for us in our business, and people still love our family pictures. So this is what we can offer you. You know. The reason I can do that is because I know what we have, I know what I can offer, I know what time-wise I can do, because I've kind of gone through some of these things and continue to go through them. And I do want to encourage you too, is if you've gone through these before, don't feel stupid if you're going back through them.
Or
If
we
you're,
get a copy of this.
this is online.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
this is online. You can access it. I'll give you the link. Shoot you guys all in the contact link. I'll just put